Hey guys, welcome back to 234 in La Casa. So summer's almost over and I've decided to do a cold dessert. I don't want to turn my oven on, and I know Labor Day is coming up and a lot of people are going to be making different things for Labor Day, desserts and things like that. So we're going to make a strawberry cheesecake layered dessert. And there's no oven required whatsoever, not even for the homemade crust, okay? So I'll bring you all over and show you the ingredients, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all over here in just a second for a wonderful summertime dessert, no oven required, strawberry layered cheesecake. See you in a second. All right guys, so we're gonna start with a cup of heavy whipping cream. You're gonna go ahead and place this in your stand mixer and just allow it to whip up into soft peaks. And while this is whipping in the stand mixer, you can go ahead and start on your crust. All right guys, so I've got my heavy whipping cream in the stand mixer going. We're gonna start off with an 8 by 8 inch baking dish. This is what you're gonna need for your crust. And the entire layered cheesecake pie is gonna be in this same dish. So we're gonna start off with 1.5 cups of graham cracker crumbs. And if you do s'mores in the summertime like we do, if you have any leftover graham crackers after that, which we don't ever go through all those graham crackers, don't get rid of them, just leave them. They may get stale or whatever, but you can still use those graham crackers that are stale to make a graham cracker crust. So all I did was put some one layer of graham crackers in this bag, and then used the bottom of I think it was my butter dish, and just crush them all up really fine. And so don't get rid of those crumbs. I mean, don't get rid of those graham crackers. They do have a use for them after you do s'mores or what have you with it. So this is 2 teaspoons of vanilla that we're gonna add. And 1/3 cup of brown sugar. We're gonna get all of that mixed together. And you probably I should have done the brown sugar first with the graham cracker crumbs and mix that together first before adding the vanilla. So if you want to swap that step around, you can. It'll make combining everything a lot easier than the way that I just did it. So just disregard me doing that vanilla first. Okay, and then to this we're gonna add 5 tablespoons of butter. Yeah, be sure to swap that step around and get your brown sugar added, and then add your vanilla, okay? And then also, if you don't want to use brown sugar for your graham cracker crust, you can also just use white sugar, or you can use a combination of both. You can split your 1/3 into halves and do half brown sugar and half white sugar, if that's what you'd like to do too. And I have a tendency to add a little bit more vanilla to my crusts and stuff. And so if you want to, instead of doing 2 teaspoons of vanilla, you want to do 1 teaspoon, you can. I just love the vanilla flavor. Or you can increase it from 2 to 3 if you just really love vanilla. Or if you don't want to use vanilla, you can use almond extract as well. That's good for graham cracker crust too. Okay, so we're just going to get this all mixed together. Make sure that all of your crumbs are moistened by the vanilla and by the butter. And once all of your crumbs are moistened, then we will get this pressed into the bottom of this 8 by 8 inch baking dish. We're gonna take the bottom. I'm gonna use a small measuring cup. You wanna make sure that the bottom of whatever you're using is flat, because we're gonna want our crust to be even. Like something like this that has indentions in it, you don't wanna use, or even like this measuring cup that has the little stand on it, the little fork, that's not flat enough. You want whatever you're gonna use to press your crust down to be completely flat on the bottom, okay? So we're just gonna gently press. And for this crust, you don't need to make the crust go all the way up the sides if you don't want to. And you wanna make sure that you get this packed, not very heavily, but evenly, and not too light either, because you wanna make sure that your crust, you know, that when you're lifting it out, your crust is not crumbling and falling apart. So it's just a happy medium between packing the crust in and also gently packing it in. So it's not too firm and not too loose. All right, y'all, so this is finished. So we're gonna go ahead and place this in the freezer while we do the next step of the cheesecake layered dessert. Okay, so this is what our 1 cup of heavy whipping cream looks like after it mixed for that little while we made our crust. So I have removed it from the mixer and I'm just combining, like you're just wiping the sides of the bowl. And then we're gonna add to this 1 cup of whipping cream, heavy whipping cream, 1/4 of a cup of powdered sugar, and 1/2 of a teaspoon of vanilla. And we're just gonna gently fold that together. All right, so we've got that mixed together. Now we're gonna set this heavy whipping cream that we mixed up with the mixer aside. Okay, so in our mixing bowl, we're gonna want to use, like I said, 2 8-ounce bricks of Philadelphia cream cheese, and just make sure they're at room temperature. We got those 2 bricks added. And then we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 1 cup of powdered sugar, and you don't need to sift this powdered sugar or anything, and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And I'm gonna add another 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. We're gonna go ahead and start mixing. I've got my whisk attachment. And like I said, we'll start off at a low speed setting. While this mixes, I'm gonna go ahead and grab some strawberries that I have here. Get these washed off, and you wanna have your strawberries cut in half. All right, guys, so this is our cream cheese mixture. I'm gonna lower my stand mixer down. I've already scraped underneath this once already, and so I've made sure that everything that's at the bottom is mixed in and incorporated well. And I forgot to mention that if you want your mixture to remain just crystal white, then when you use vanilla extract, use the clear vanilla extract instead of the brown, okay? Now we're gonna add in our heavy whipping cream mixture, and we're going to gently fold this heavy whipping cream mixture into the cream cheese mixture, okay? And so you're gonna want to either put this on a half setting on your stand mixer if you're going to gently fold with your whisk attachment, like a half or 1 for your gentle folding, or you can gently fold by hand. And then also, if you decide to use brown vanilla flavoring, but you're wanting your cream cheese layer to be white, you can add some white gel paste, a couple of drops of that, food coloring, so that your layer remains, you know, if you're wanting it to be just stark white. I'm going to start my mixer and fold in that had that 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. Got that folded in, and I did stop my mixer once to scrape the sides and then started my mixer back. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this from the stand mixer and get the crust out of the freezer so we can add a layer of cream cheese filling on top of that pie crust. All right, guys, so I just got the crust out of the freezer. We're gonna take our cream cheese filling that's mixed with the heavy whipping cream and everything, got that folded in, and we're gonna take about half of this cream cheese filling and spread it evenly across the bottom of the crust. And we're gonna use half of the filling. We're gonna reserve the other half for a second layer of this pie. So I've got 1 layer here. I've put the other cream cheese to the side. Now we've got our strawberries and all washed and rinsed. And so we're gonna place a layer of strawberries on top of this cream cheese. And you wanna be quick with this process because you don't want your strawberries to start to bleed into your layer because you know strawberries are wet. You can even, or highly moist, you can even, you know, kind of dry your strawberries on a little paper towel if you would like to. So that way they don't bleed either. It'll assist with that bleeding. Okay, and so now that we've placed that layer in the freezer, we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of strawberry gelatin. You can use Jell-O or whatever brand of gelatin you'd like to use. Just make sure that it's strawberry. All right, and so then we're gonna gently fold that gelatin in. Okay, so now I've got your pie out of the freezer. We're gonna go ahead and add the second layer of the pie with our Jell-O mixed in. And you wanna make sure that you have this layer even, just like you had the first layer. Just gonna place that on top of those strawberries. All right, so we've got that second layer added, and now We're gonna add another layer of strawberries. And then once you get this layer added, you're gonna stick your pie back in the freezer for about 30 minutes. All right, so it's been about 30 minutes. So I just got the cream cheese layered pie out of the freezer. And so now I've got a 15-ounce container of whipped topping. I'm gonna use about 8 ounces of this. So about half, little over half of this to put on top of this pie, and then we're gonna stick it back in the freezer for another hour, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna put, like I said, about half of the Cool Whip on top of the layered dessert, our cream cheese layered pie. All right, so I've got the Cool Whip on top. So we're gonna go ahead and place this back in the freezer for at a minimum of 1 hour. I wouldn't leave this in the freezer overnight, but you could leave it in the freezer for up to about 2 to 3 hours, but the minimum is gonna be an hour. Okay, so the pie or the cheesecake layered dessert was in the freezer for about 2 hours or so. I was not at home, and so it was cut by my children, and so this is the end result of it. They dug in and got some pieces of it, and so, but if you leave it in the freezer longer than just that 2 hours, 3 to 4 hours, your layers are going to be more distinct and not so like running together the way that these layers are, but it is excellent. I mean, since I've been back home, I've had some of it. It is really good. I can see why they didn't wait the amount of time they needed to wait before digging in. It tastes really good. You have the salty layer of the crust at the bottom when you use the salted butter, and then the sweetness of all the other layers, and then the strawberries are a little bit frozen, and so they have a nice crunch to them. So it's really good dessert, really tasty. I just hate that when it was cut, that it wasn't cut where the layers are very distinct, but that's neither here nor there. It still tastes wonderful. So I invite you all to try this layered dessert. See y'all next time.